What's up? This is Ben from WODprep, and in this video, I am going to teach you all of the different presses, jerks, and thrusters that we might do inside of a traditional functional fitness or CrossFit gym. So in this video, I'm going to break down the difference between a strict press, push jerk, split jerk, and a thruster, and a shoulder to overhead so that you know all the differences so that you're ready to go and you know what to do when you see something like push presses or split jerks programmed in your workout. So in this video, we're not going to talk as much about technique. There's plenty of other videos like that, and I will make sure to link those in the description. I also, at the end of this video, will teach you a little bit more about resources that we have here at WODprep to help you get better at weightlifting in general, including pressing. So in all of these movements, the finished rep is barbell overhead, elbows locked out, hips locked out, knees locked out, and feet together. They can be wide like this, that's okay, but they can't be split. I can't have my knees bent, can't have my elbows bent, can't have my hips bent. I have to be standing all the way up, fully locked out. That is a completed rep. So now let's break down each of the different movements, and they're going to increase in complexity. So the first thing is the strict press or shoulder press or overhead press. They're all the same movement. And what that means is the barbell starts on my shoulders and without any movement of my body ends up overhead, meaning I'm not using my legs, I'm not using my knees or hips or anything like that. So strict press looks like this. Again, starts on the shoulders in what we call the front rack position. So the barbell is on the rack of my shoulders and I press overhead, locked out. That is a strict press. That is 1 rep, 2 reps, so on and so forth. Now, if we want to make things more complicated, we can do what's called a push press. Push press looks very similar. However, I'm able to use my legs to generate momentum. So the shoulder press or the strict press or overhead press that I just demonstrated is just shoulders. And traditionally, you won't be able to do as much weight when compared to a push press, which uses my legs. So a push press, all I'm doing is I'm going into a slight squat, and then I'm using the momentum of my legs to drive the bar overhead. So a push press looks like this. The difference between a push press and a strict press, strict, no movement at all in my legs, just pressing directly overhead. A push press, I'm able to use my legs, so I bend my knees and hips slightly, use the force of my legs to stand aggressively. That momentum then drives the bar up, and I finish with the press. So I go from bend to lock out, and then that momentum drives the bar overhead. Now, an even more complex layer. If you see push jerks, now we add a little bit more complexity. So the push press, I could use my legs to push the barbell in one fluid motion overhead. A push jerk, the jerk aspect means that I'm allowed to re-bend underneath the bar to get the weight overhead. So without any weight, I'll demonstrate. My feet generally in all these movements is going to start under my hips. Some people like their feet slightly wider. It's kind of personal preference, but directly under my hips. A push jerk, I dip just like I would for the push press. I drive just like I did for the push press to generate momentum. And then as the barbell is going over my head, I can actually re-bend my knees and my hips to get the barbell locked out of my elbows. And then to finish the rep, I have to stand all the way up, just like we did in the previous 2 movements. Remember that completed movement is I'm locked out everywhere with the bar overhead. Dip, drive, drop, and then stand. So the push jerk should allow you to move more weight than the push press. So dip, drive, drop, I'm utilizing my legs to make it so that I don't have to push the barbell nearly as high, and then I catch that weight and stand it up. So that's the push jerk. So the jerk has a rebend where you can catch, you can drop underneath the bar. The push press and the strict press do not. The next layer, the fourth movement I want to introduce, is the split jerk. So the split jerk, it says jerk in it, I get to drop under the bar. However, for a split jerk, my feet will actually split and stagger themselves. It doesn't matter which way you go, that's going to be personal preference, but my feet are going to start in line underneath my hips, and I'm going to drop into this split position to receive the bar overhead. This should be stronger than your push jerk. I should be able to get even lower underneath the bar. With the push jerk, maybe I can only squat this deep. However, with a split jerk, I can get even lower. I don't know if you saw that. Push jerk, this is about how comfortable I feel dropping. But with the split, I can drop even lower, which means I don't have to move the bar nearly as much off my shoulders before I can use my legs and that split to drop under the bar. Dip, drive, drop into a split. And remember, to make the rep count, we have to recover for our feet to be in line with our hips. So let's show that one more time. Split jerk, dip, drive, drop into a split. The rep is not done yet because I have to end fully standing. As we've increased complexity, the coordination required to do these movements increases. So the easiest movement so far is the strict press, less moving parts. And then the push press, only a couple moving parts. Push jerk, 4 moving parts, 3 moving parts, because we have the dip, drive, drop, and recover. And then the split jerk is the most complicated because not only are we dropping under the bar, we're dropping into a split position with that weight overhead. And then we recover, okay? So there's a lot of extra coaching cues that I don't have time to go into super detail. We have a lot more videos on it. But those are the main pressing movements. So if you see a workout that calls for 9 push jerks each round, remember, if you did something like this, that technically wouldn't count. If you did this, that wouldn't count because that's not a push jerk. If you did this, that would count. That's a push jerk. If you did this, that wouldn't count because that is a split jerk. Do you already go to a CrossFit gym, but you want a little bit more to help level up your performance? Well, if you are trying to get better at gymnastics, or maybe you want a bigger cardio engine, or maybe you just want to get strong, or maybe you want to get better at weightlifting, we have WODprep accessory tracks. It's called WPX. And for $9 per month, you can get access to incredible accessory programming that you can easily add as a cherry on top to what you're already following. The sessions take about 30 minutes, maybe even less, sometimes just a little bit more per session, and you do them 2 to 3 times per week, and it fast tracks your success in those various domains. So if you want to get better at anything I just talked about, and you want to spend barely any money on it, I think it's, again, only $9 a month, then join WPX. Go to this link displayed on the screen or check the description below. Join a WPX accessory program and we will fast track your CrossFit skills and CrossFit success. Now, what happens if you see something like 9 rather than 9 push jerk? It's 9 shoulder to overhead. What does that mean? Well, by rule, by definition, all that means is the bar needs to start on my shoulder and end up in this overhead lockout position where my elbows, hips, and knees are locked out. So shoulder to overhead, if that's written, let's say in the workout, then it is your choice which version you want to do. You could do 9 strict presses, but that's probably going to tire out your shoulders. If you don't feel like doing a push jerk, then you could do 9 push presses. But again, that's not quite the most efficient way to move the weight overhead. So you might want to do push jerk, because push jerk is a sweet spot where you're getting the benefit of dropping under the bar and using your legs, but you don't have to do like a split jerk where you have that extra time to recover between each rep. But again, if that workout calls for, let's say, 9 shoulder to overhead per round, you can choose to do any combination of strict press or shoulder press, push jerk, or split jerk. All of those are fine as long as each rep ends with your feet level underneath your hips, or maybe slightly wider, that's fine. Elbows, hips, knees locked out. And then the last movement that I want to cover, because it's kind of one of those movements that it's a mix of a few different things, is the thruster. What the heck is a thruster? Well, the thruster is a front squat combined with a push press. Essentially, you can think of it as a really, really deep full squat push press, not push jerk. Let's dig into it. So a thruster, the movement standards are, I start with the bar on my shoulder, I pass below parallel of my squat, I have to go all the way down to where my hip crease is below the top of my knee, below parallel, and then in one fluid motion I drive up and press overhead. So you can see that's a lot like the push press. It's just a really deep push press where I go into the full squat. Now, a thruster technically cannot look like this. Why? Well, as you probably noticed, I jerked that thruster. So unless it was a thruster jerk, that wouldn't count. Never seen that programmed. So remember, with a thruster, it has to be one fluid motion squat, drive, press. So it's a really big dip, below parallel, and drive. You can't do a jerk and drop back under the bar. That would technically be a no rep when it comes to thrusters. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna play a quick game with you to see how well you've been paying attention and how well you've been learning. Let's see if you can get all of these movements right. I'm gonna do one movement, see if you can call out what the movement was before the name pops up on the screen. So I'm gonna do a combination of all the things we just talked about, and I wanna see if you can get it after one rep. Let's get started. So, what was that? That was a push jerk. That was a split jerk. Strict press or shoulder press or overhead press. Thruster. So I hope that you passed the test. I hope you got all those right. If you did, thumbs up. If not, you can go watch the video again. I hope that this video was helpful. It's very beginner focused. If you like videos like this, be sure to let me know in the comments below what's one thing that you learned. And then as promised, I have some great resources for you. So number one, if you probably tell my shoulders are a little bit tight, but if your shoulders are really tight and going overhead with the barbell and holding it in that front rack position is tough, then you might be interested in our shoulder mobility guide. It's a completely free guide. All you have to do is go to WODprep.com/shoulders, enter your name and email, and I'll send you my favorite overhead warm-up that's gonna help you get your shoulders warm and ready to work out, and it's gonna make these movements feel a lot better. Next, if you want to work on your weightlifting, if getting better at weightlifting is something you're interested in, you should check out our WPX weightlifting. That's WODprep accessory weightlifting. It's just $9 per month, and it's gonna help you get better at things like presses, jerks, things like that, but also cleans and snatches. So if you wanna get better at weightlifting as a whole, it's 3 days per week, about 30 to 45 minutes per session, and it's only $9 a month, and you can it's designed perfectly to be added into your normal training. I'll make sure to link WPX weightlifting down below. It's a great option. And then if you're someone who wants to improve all the things, you wanna improve your mobility, you wanna improve your weightlifting, you wanna improve gymnastics, you wanna improve all the things, then you should check out WODprep Academy. Because inside of WODprep Academy, not only do we have full courses for how to get better shoulder mobility, called Shoulder ROM Unlocked, we also have a full, in-depth, super detailed weightlifting course that teaches you how to press, how to jerk, how to clean, how to snatch. And it's all included, including 33 and growing other full online courses, and that's all bundled together inside of WODprep Academy. So if you want to get the best bang for your buck, go check out WODprep Academy. All of those courses are designed to be like mini schools on how to learn a specific movement, from muscle ups to weightlifting movements like snatch, clean, and jerk, to shoulder mobility, nutrition, and more. It's all available inside of WODprep Academy, so go check that out. I'll have all those links to the resources down below. Again, if you liked the video, thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't, smash the subscribe button. If you have any questions at all, please ask them in the comments below, and I will see you in next week's video. Hey, did you like this video? Well, I have a lot more where that came from, where you can enhance your skills even more and learn a bunch. Click this box to watch my next video.